Move along, folks. There's nothing to see here. Everything's fine. Nothing happened. That's effectively how Justin Trudeau has characterized what looks, from my perspective, to be a colossally bad week at the NATO summit in London in the United Kingdom. A week so bad that he was called very publicly two-faced by President Donald Trump. It all started when Justin Trudeau was at first pushed on what Canada's defense spending is in relation to its GDP. This was in a bilateral press conference with Donald Trump. Trump put the question to Trudeau very candidly, what is Canada spending right now? Trudeau tried to talk about this multi-year plan of increasing and eventually had to get prompted by an off-camera aide to get the number, which he said was 1.4%, which actually overstates the percentage of GDP that Canada spends on defense. Keep in mind, the NATO commitment Canada has made is 2%. But it didn't stop there. Hours later, at a private meeting, or what was supposed to be private, between various world leaders at Buckingham Palace, a pool camera picked up on Justin Trudeau, Emmanuel Macron, and Boris Johnson chit-chatting, in which Trudeau was doing much of the heavy lifting in the conversation, mocking the length of Donald Trump's press conference, and at one point saying that his staffers' jaws had dropped because of something that Trump had done. And this is something that I find very interesting because Trudeau was the one driving this. He was the one driving this conversation. And unsurprisingly, the next day, Donald Trump says, well, Trudeau's a nice guy, but he's kind of two-faced. Trump thought that this whole thing came up because Trudeau might not have liked that Trump pushed him on NATO defense spending. So one way or another, whether you agree or disagree with what Trudeau said, there exists a perception in the mind of the leader of Canada's largest trading partner, of Donald Trump, President of the United States, that Trudeau screwed up. So for Trudeau to get up at a press conference a couple hours later and say, well, everything's fine, I'm committed to NATO, we've had many conversations, and this was, nothing and no big deal, is actually missing the mark profoundly. Remember, this government has repeatedly thumbed its nose at the United States. Chrystia Freeland, you'll recall, took the stage at an event that had the headline up on the board, "Taking on the Tyrant." Trudeau himself has, in one case, said things to Donald Trump, and then once Trump's on the plane and gone, says a very different story to the media. And we are, whether you like or dislike Trump, whether you respect him or not, we are in many ways tied to the U.S. economy. We have many projects that are ongoing with the United States, from things that are on the table at NATO to the renegotiation of NAFTA. And for Trudeau to just be so flippant and dismissive about these concerns shows that he was lying or way off the mark when he got up and said right after being reelected that Canada is back. Remember, that was his whole approach to governance, that Canadians could finally be proud of how they'd be represented on the foreign stage. And now when he's not prancing around like a Bollywood bridesmaid, he is thumbing his nose at the president of our greatest ally and then saying that nothing happened, there's nothing to see. This is wrong, it's short-sighted, and it's bad diplomacy. For True North, I'm Andrew Lawton.